That's not a knife. This is a knife. Guys, welcome to the channel. And in this case, we have a robber that shows up with a machete, and we have a clerk that has an actual freaking giant sword. No, YouTube, this is not going to be messy or anything. There's not going to be any violence in this video, but still valuable lessons to be learned. You will see exactly what I mean, so stay until the end. As always, if you want to learn more about all this stuff in terms of survival and preparedness, especially the economic aspect, you have my books, Surviving the Economic Collapse, in Spanish, in English, and in French, as well as for this sort of stuff, the practical aspect of self-defense and on the streets and so on, street survival skills with a lot of topics related to this stuff, use of different tools and things you can do to keep yourself and your family safe. So what we have here is what I just said. You have a robber that shows up with a big machete, right? Long, big machete. That's a pretty scary scenario already, okay? But there's always going to be someone. There's always going to be the Indian dude that brings the damn Indiana Jones sword. And that's all there was. That's all there is to it, right? So it's intimidation. When I see him with his sword, which was a machete, he brought out this thing, which is, it is super intimidating and scary and pretty pointy. All right, so a couple lessons here. The first one, quite obvious, is there's an aspect of intimidation in self-defense. If there's a, oh, I'm scaring, it can happen. You can't count on it, but it can happen. You think you have the upper hand. You think you have, oh, I brought a gun. And then someone puts a shotgun to your face and your pants start getting moist all of a sudden. Things that happen. It could be a rifle as well. Believe me, it could be any of those. So there is this thing, right? So when people start with, oh, but I have a shotgun, and I go like, it could well work. It could well intimidate or scare someone. I simply happen to believe that you cannot count on that alone in terms of keeping yourself safe and your family safe. There was this Navy SEAL that said, I leave my wife, she doesn't like guns, so I leave her a pump action shotgun so as to scare with the sound. Dude, I don't think that's a good idea, but anyway, it may work. I'm not saying it wouldn't. Not what I would do, but okay. Now, in this case, first of all, the bigger piece of metal is more intimidating than the smaller one. In this case, you have a freaking machete. That's pretty dangerous already. If you had like a smaller knife, yeah, even more so. But then it comes down to this second point that is critical and just takes a fraction of a second. A fraction of a second to understand how all of this plays out. So, guy with a machete, guy with a sword. The guy with a machete says, hell no, I have a machete. I don't care about your sword. And then this happens. You see what happens? He's rushing, and then he's poking the longer weapon. And it's a freaking giant-ass Indiana Jones kind of sword. At some point, it stops being about intimidation. It becomes about the actual range. And no one here is using any ninja techniques or anything. He's not even stretching his arms correctly so as to have even greater distance or range. No, but damn, it is super big. It is very long and pointy. And I'm here with my machete. And that's all she wrote. That's all there is to be said about this. And he realizes it and he runs away. And good for him, right?
I use this one when I see him with a sword to make him use this one.
Did he have the machete there in his hand at the end? Man, the image is so blurry. Yeah, he has something there. But is it like a bag or anyway, whatever's the case. The bigger, piece of sharp steel was more intimidating and likely more effective, mostly because of its greater range. Guys, these things happen. These things have to be taken into account. And there is something to be said about the factor of, a blade is scary, right, as it is. A bigger one is even more intimidating. But beyond that, it is going to go deeper into whatever it goes into. And it's giving you a much greater range, right, especially when held in certain ways. And that may make a difference. If intimidation doesn't work, right, and I'm not saying you should count on it, but if the attacker doesn't immediately seize and turns away and leave, well, when it comes down to it, it is more. Folks, see you on our next video. Take care.